right now. Pittsburgh's best sports show is about to begin. Call us or tweet us. We've got things to talk about on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call.
All right, thanks a lot, Royce. Thank you for tuning into the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. Rich Walsh will be joined by Chris Mueller in a matter of moments, so sit tight. Give us a call on the Borders and Borders hotline at 412-575-2600. We're going to be talking about the Steelers here, obviously, tonight. Had their third win of the season, first game in the second half of the season. Offense looked a little bit better. Kenny Pickett looked a little bit better. T.J. Watt's back. Did they put it all together? Can they make a run? Can they go 9-0, Chris, in the second half?
9-0?
Yeah, throwing it out there.
You want to start at 7-2? Maybe move up to 8-1? You just leave with 9-0?
I threw it out at 9-0. I know you're optimistic now. You're a big Steelers fan. You think it's all flowers and roses and everything.
I see. You're setting me up because you know I am not those things. I think they're going to get a rude awakening potentially this week against the Bengals. The Bengals are much better than the Saints, who look like a team that's falling apart at the seams and is going into a soft tank. I was reading about how New Orleans is putting a bunch of guys on IR. They don't expect to have so-and-so back. The Steelers did not put it all together, but they did do some very encouraging things. Their defense is obviously much different when T.J. Watt's out there. I even undersold it. I thought, no way can this guy, as great as he is, make as much difference as people are suggesting. He did. They even play with a different attitude. It's not just the trickle down in terms of X's and O's and scheme and matchups. They play with a different confident attitude when he's out there. They ran the ball unbelievably well. It was a throwback Steelers win. We're going to run it for a ton of yardage. We're going to D you up. We're going to shut you down in the second half and shut you out in this case. But no, they still have things that they could do better. And here's one main one. I want to see Kenny Pickett continue to make progress. I know you said it was in many ways his best game. Probably Mike Tomlin would feel that way, Richie, because he didn't turn the ball over. And that's Mike Tomlin's formula this year is running, defense, no turnovers. He got it really for the first time all season. I want Kenny Pickett to start making more intermediate throws. I want him to recognize when deep plays are open. And I want him and them to be much better in the red zone. You start checking boxes like that at that position, then I'll start to believe that the crazy, gaudy record you maybe tossed out there at me is a little bit more of a possibility.
You know, I asked him the question earlier today when I talked to him in the locker room about, hey, some of the plays. Give me an example of some of the plays that you would like to have back. What are the plays that you missed after looking at the video? Because he said he wanted to look at a tape a lot. And that was his answer that he gave when I did the sportscast. Basically, there's a couple of deep balls. And it's interesting because I was watching football with Ben Roethlisberger and our very own Bob Pompiani was the guest. And one of the things he said the very first play of the game, him and Charlie Batch both said that he missed Deontay Johnson. He could have had him for a 75-yard touchdown.
Yeah, so I know that I have been a vocal Roethlisberger critic, particularly in recent years, but I find myself oddly enough agreeing with a decent amount of his analysis of Pickett. And the best point I thought Roethlisberger made when he talked on that podcast about that specific play, Richie, like you can chalk it up if you want to be charitable to, hey, Kenny Pickett's a rookie. He's not going to see those plays. But Ben pointed out that's probably a scripted play. Pretty much every team tries to script 10 or 15 to start the game. So he knows what the play is. He's been practicing that specific play. You would think, Richie, I don't know about you, I would, if he sees a specific look, he should feel like a specific route is there, right?
Yeah.
So he's got to have it in the back of his mind or maybe the front of his mind, hey, Deontay Johnson, if I get this look from the safety, is going to be open. I've got to put that ball out there for him. The fact that he didn't do it is bad. The fact that he threw to George Pickens, who was open but made such a bad throw that it could have almost gotten intercepted, is worse. I got to see fewer mental errors, quicker processing, and when he makes those quick decisions, I want to see him throw with authority and accuracy.
You know, the other thing Ben pointed out in that podcast, and it just made me think, Ben was quick to move around a little bit, too, his rookie year. Kenny Pickett wants to tuck it if that first read isn't there, or maybe the second. He doesn't go through all the reads or all his checks. But the difference between the two, and Ben pointed it out, Ben would actually move and run with the ball and throw it where Kenny Pickett just tucks it and runs.
Yeah, I don't think Pickett trusts his arm. Not trusts his arm, but I don't think he trusts what he sees when he breaks the pocket. He had a nice throw to Johnson on a design kind of rollout that I thought was a good play. But, yeah, when it's a scramble drill, I don't think Pickett necessarily believes that he can fit the ball in there. He doesn't have the knack Roethlisberger did for making those plays. Here's something else. His legs are good. I mean, Tomlin cited his running ability as a big factor in why they were able to roll up so much yardage against the Saints, Richie. But for a guy who's got good athletic ability like Pickett does, good mobility, he does not, to me yet, show any kind of real NFL level pocket awareness. He looks jittery. He does way too often. I know you saw this too. You were watching the same thing I was. I get pretty leery when I see him bail out of what looks like a decent pocket and do that sort of turn and spin around to his right where he's trying to escape. That's got to stop. Not only because he's got to start making plays and seeing the whole field, but he's eventually going to get clobbered when he turns his back completely from the play there to try to escape.
You know, before we go to break here, I know we've been critical of his arm strength a little bit. Did you see anything more this past game? I mean, he did have one of his best games, but I still feel like that zip isn't there that we might see from other quarterbacks.
So he doesn't have Allen's arm or Mahomes' arm or Rodgers' arm, but I don't think anybody said that he did have those guys in terms, matched in terms of arm strength. What I would say about Kenny Pickett is he cannot afford to be throwing with anything less than basically 100% conviction, right? Like I've had enough scouts that study this for a living say that they think he actually, Mike Mayock said he thinks he has a plus NFL arm. Okay. Well, it's only going to render itself or manifest itself, as a plus arm if he is stepping into what he's doing with conviction. And I just don't see that regularly enough. You did on the sideline ball to Deontay Johnson, but that doesn't happen nearly frequently enough.
Yeah, and the one thing you don't see, I mean, and this might be the design of the offense, a lot of the receivers are coming back to his balls or waiting there where he's not hitting guys in stride, where they can go 15 yards after the play.
I mean, the Pickens play, the first play of the game that we've dissected so many times, though, that's a play where George Pickens is open. That requires him to have good mechanics, turn your hips, and like really put your lower body behind that football. And he didn't do it. It ends up 2 feet behind George Pickens.
Yeah. All right, we're going to take a break. Back with your phone calls, 412-575-2600 on the Borders and Borders hotline. Stay right there.